Have you seen the viral video, Revelation in the Stars? You know, the one that predicts signs in the heavens on October 9th, based on the book of Revelation? If you haven't, well, maybe you're the only one who hasn't, because it's the most popular Christian video in like the last couple months. I've received dozens and dozens and dozens of requests to react to this video. And, say what is biblically accurate, what isn't. And that's what we're doing today. I assume you have seen this video, as it's gathered 4.5 million views already. If you haven't, there's a link down in the description. But I bet you also have been wondering what was and wasn't factual. This is Bible teacher Nelson Walters, and one thing that is definitely true, though, about this video is it's wildly popular. There are obviously things about it that people are watching and sharing at a record pace. There is something special about it. It was produced very well and presents some interesting material. In case you haven't seen it, we've included a link down in the description, but it also has some material, unfortunately, that is mistaken. And that's what you need to know. What you shouldn't trust about it. This video was done by the channel Blow the Shofar. The basic idea of the video is that October 9th, 2024 was a special day. From watching the video, you can surmise that the producer feels it's the beginning of a tribulation and the rapture. But since that day has come and gone with no rapture, we already have one important thing the video got wrong. There was no rapture that day. However, there is an aspect of it he got right. 2024, we think, is the year the tribulation begins. He came to that conclusion using 5 Bible verse warnings that he believes gives this timing. He thinks this day, October 9th, was also marked by signs in the night sky that evening that match things in the book of Revelation. Events like the 4 horsemen. The third section of the video is about verses he believes warn about a nuclear war, a judgment that he thinks follows the pre-tribulation rapture. And his warning is to get right with God before you miss the rapture and have to endure that nuclear judgment. Now that's an awful lot of material, and Revelation in the Stars is over an hour long, probably 3 times what we choose for our channel. But we're going to try to analyze it in a regular length Nelson video. Now right off the bat, the video quotes Ezekiel 33:6, the verse we've quoted recently ourselves, and I think it's very apropos. That verse explains it is the duty of every watchman, like me and like that producer, that if he sees the sword or judgment coming, to blow the trumpet in warning, even if the watchman isn't 100% sure, that it's better to sound a false alarm than no alarm at all. Otherwise, the Lord will hold the watchman responsible for injury that happens to those who weren't warned. I understand this thinking completely. We have applied this same verse in exactly the same way on our series about the start of a tribulation, so I agree with the biblical principle. The Blow the Shofar channel believes they have discovered a warning from God that judgment is coming, and they want everyone to know about it. Although I don't agree with even more than 50% of what this video presents, and we're going to explain why, I do agree with this principle, so let's see what this teacher has to say. First, I think the channel has the timing of the tribulation just about right. October 2024 to October 2031. Just like our channel. We believe the tribulation, however, began on the Feast of Trumpets, not on the 9th of October. And that is the secular New Year. The 70th week of Daniel is a grouping of 7 Hebraic years, and the New Year's always begin on New Year's Day, which is the Feast of Trumpets. We have a video on that topic, and it's down in the description. But we have to give this producer credit for getting the year correct. But since the 9th of October has come and gone with no rapture, we also can say with assurance that he was mistaken about the rapture day, but right about the tribulation year. We'll stick with our theory that the tribulation begins on the Feast of Trumpets this year, however. Now, the first third of the video in this channel presents the 5 theories why 2024 is the year of the tribulation. 2 of them we agree with, for the most part, and 3 we don't. Now, he mentions the fig tree parable from Matthew 24, which indicates the generation that will see Israel become a nation again. And that happened in 1948. And we know from the Bible that the generation who sees the fig tree blossom will also see the events in Matthew 24, including the return of Jesus. Now, he links the length of this generation to Psalm 90, the Psalm of Moses. But how he does it is unique. And this is something I'd never even considered. So please listen to this short clip from Blow the Shofar, because you and I will both learn something.
The fig tree represents Israel, and Israel became a nation in May 1948. Psalms 90 defines a generation and also provides a prophecy that is directly relevant. The days of our years are 70, and if by reason of strength they are 80 years, yet their ending is travail and iniquity, for our days are soon cut short, and we fly away. Psalm 90, verse 10. 80 years from 1948 is 2028, the very year of the abomination's desolation we discussed previously. After this desolation, Israel flies away on eagle's wings, according to Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, where she is nourished for a time, times and a half a time. Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. It is through this verse that we know that the fig tree generation ends at the midpoint of the 7-year tribulation, because time, times, and a half time means 3.5 years. If you subtract 3.5 years from 2028, you end up in fall 2024.
I thought the link to Israel being carried on eagle's wings at the midpoint of the tribulation and linking that to Psalm 90 was unique and maybe correct. The other theory we agree on, and why 2024 is the year of the tribulation, was the numerous references in Scripture, both Old and New Testament, to the 2,000-year gap from Jesus' crucifixion to his return. We've presented this theory on our channel as well. We have also left a link to our video on this down in the description. However, the other 3 theories on the subject that he gave left a lot to be desired in our opinion. One is that 2024 is the 70th Jubilee. Now, he almost gets this right. He was only off by 7 years. He correctly reasons that the Israelites entered the land of promise under the leadership of Joshua in 1406 or 1407 BC, and that the Jubilee cycles are 49 years long, and that the 70th Jubilee is coming up. I mean, that's pretty good calculation. We agree with all of that. What he misses, however, is one small detail. The Israelites entered the land in 1406 or 1407, but it took 7 years of war and struggle before the tribes received their inheritance and began tilling and reaping the land as is necessary for the Jubilee. So the Jubilee was actually 7 years later than that, probably 1400 BC. Now, I don't have a video on this yet, but one of our advisors, Ryan Rigo, does on his channel called Counting from Caleb. And I've included a link to that video down in the description. It's really worth watching. The producer of Blow the Shofar, in his calculation, also has the 70th Jubilee at the beginning of the tribulation rather than the end. And if you think about it logically, the 70th Jubilee can't come at the beginning of the tribulation, but has to come at the end, when Christians and Jews receive their land back, when Jesus restores everyone's inheritance. Until then, we're fighting for it against the forces of evil who control it now. This is how Daniel's 70 weeks presents it also. Each Jubilee is a collection of 7 7-year weeks. So the 70 weeks are actually 10 Jubilees. At the end of the 70th week is the final Jubilee. It doesn't occur till the end of the 70th week. Another theory that really misses the mark is one where he claims the 1290 days and 1335 days found in the book of Daniel are related to the Dome of the Rock. which he terms the abomination of desolation. His channel converts these day counts to years, 1290 years before the dome was built and 1335 years after the dome was built. So the channel makes these days into a timeline of sorts, but this is wildly mistaken. First, in Daniel 12:11 through 12, where these numbers are found, they are both from the abomination to something else. The 1290 number can't be applied before the abomination as the producer applies it because it happens after the abomination. Second, all timelines have a starting point. His channel chooses to start when sacrifices were taken away when the Babylonians invaded Jerusalem. However, the date the sacrifices ended was actually 11 years later than when the video claims. The ending of sacrifices actually happened when the temple was destroyed. Prior to that, they were still doing sacrifices. This theory, as we said, is so convoluted, it really shouldn't have been included in this video, in my opinion. Now, the date October 9th is also pretty suspect. The Blow the Shofar channel claims it is the great 8th day of the Feast of Tabernacles, Shemini Atzeret, the day of the solemn assembly, thought to be the new beginning and culmination of God's plan for humanity. In 2024, it begins on October 23rd. See the problem? It can't begin on October 23rd and be the 9th of October. That's impossible. The Blow the Shofar channel obviously isn't using the Hebrew calendar, nor is he using the Dead Sea calendar, which could possibly have been a choice. Instead, he's using something else, and he's somewhat vague about what calendar he is using. But whatever that calendar is, it doesn't have the Feast of Trumpets, the first day of the year, being determined by the sighting of a new moon. That's crucial. That's how the Jews set their years. So I think we can reject October 9th as being the day of the solemn assembly. And we can also now reject it as the day of the rapture. But as a huge positive, the channel brought up a Bible verse that I had never considered in regard to the Hebraic high holy days in the end times. Joel 2:15 through 16. Blow the trumpet in Zion. That's the Feast of Trumpets. Declare a holy fast. That's Yom Kippur. Call a sacred assembly. That's the Feast of Tabernacles. Gather the people. Consecrate the assembly. Gathering and consecrating the assembly could be thought of as the rapture and then their transformation into resurrection bodies so that they can appear before the throne of God. Bring together the elders. Gather the children, those nursing at the breast. Let the bridegroom, is that Jesus, leave his room? And the bride her chamber, is that the church? So that verse associates these events with the day of the Lord. So this could be a description of the rapture and its association with the Hebraic fall feasts of the Lord. I'm going to do a video analyzing this passage at another time. It should be a really good video, and you should watch for it. This brings us to the star signs, which this channel claims all appeared on October 9th, 2024, which we now know is nothing special. And the signs, it further states, are detailed in the book of Revelation. Now, to be fair, the book of Revelation does present a number of star signs. They're found in Revelation's chapters 12 through 15. But when it does this, the book of Revelation clearly states a great sign appeared in heaven, or another great sign appeared in heaven. Revelation uses words to tell us that these are signs in the sky, and as such, that we should watch for them. The difference with this video by Blow the Shofar is that in all cases but one, the signs it gives aren't mentioned in Revelation as signs. And I think that's huge. What this other channel has done, really, is create signs where no signs exist in order to make a point. That point being that October 9th, 2024 was supposedly to indicate the rapture would happen that day. And now we know that the rapture didn't happen, as predicted by this channel. The signs are all the more suspect. Now, our channel did a landmark video on the true star signs found in Revelations 12, 1 through 5 a few years ago. The sign of the woman in labor, the sign of the dragon, the sign of the birth or the rapture, and the sign of the crushing of the head of the serpent or Armageddon. These signs point to a number of the important events in the end times, like the beginning of birth pangs, abomination of desolation, the rapture, Armageddon. And they each happen on an exact feast day of the Lord. Plus, Revelation tells us to look for them because they're signs. We did a comprehensive video on these signs, and its link is at the end of this video. Watch this one all the way through, then click on that one. But let's return to the signs that Revelation in the stars presents. Now, the premise of the video is that each of the wandering stars, which are planets, the sun, and the moon, each form a special star sign with a constellation, and that star sign is found in Revelation, and it only occurs on the night of October 9th. The sun supposedly holds the hand of Virgo the Virgin as a sign of the rapture. Revelation describes the woman of Virgo as the mother of those raptured. So in my opinion, that sign fails. Claims Saturn is having the water from the constellation of Aquarius poured on its head that night. Saturn is usually thought to be a symbol of Satan. Satan, Saturn sound the same, but the Blow the Shofar channel claims it's a symbol of Mystery Babylon. I just couldn't find any justification for that. Jupiter is found between the horns of Taurus the bull, the constellation of Taurus. Their channel equates these horns with the doors of heaven, yet nowhere in the Bible is that connection found. The horns of the wild ox or bull are found 5 times in the Bible, but nowhere are they the door of heaven. Each occurrence of the horns seem to mean something a little different in Scripture, so the horns of the bull are not a consistent symbol, although most of the time it has something to do with judgment. I think we can and should dismiss all of these so-called signs that we've studied so far. But the channel also presents 4 signs which it attributes to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And I had more interest in these because now the tribulation has begun on October 2nd. We should be expecting the horsemen. As many of you know, we think the white horsemen may have ridden when the pact for the future was signed on September 22nd. Now let's see if these horsemen signs make any sense. The white horseman, in the Blow the Shofar channel's opinion, is the constellation of Sagittarius, which makes some sense. It's a centaur, which is a half man, half horse. It has a bow, and below it there's a constellation that is a crown, Corona Australis. But it's like that every night of the year. The only thing that could make October 9th different is that the moon is in the constellation that month. Does that really make for a sign? Not in our opinion. Plus, in Revelation, the horse and rider are separate. They're separate entities. It's not a centaur, which is a single creature. Sagittarius has a bow and an arrow, while the white horseman of Revelation has only a bow. And the crown is below Sagittarius, which seems an odd place. Plus, Revelation 6:2 states the white horse rider is given a crown. To me, at least, that's the part that would change, that would make it a sign when he's given the crown. But the crown's always there. So I don't see this as a sign. The red and pale green horse signs, however, are even a bigger stretch. For these, the channel chose the constellation of Gemini, which is a set of twins, making it kind of 2 signs in one. And it is near a unicorn constellation. I assume that could be a horse. But as with Sagittarius, the unicorn is always there. These things are unchanging. The channel also, unfortunately, claims the horn of the unicorn is the sword that's given the red horse rider. And I say to that, really? A horn is a sword? That's the part that I would think, again, would be the part that changes, because that's the part that's given to the red horse rider. But the Blow the Shofar channel says it's the planet Mars. It's in one twin of Gemini, and then 5 months later it's in the other. To me, that's not a sign. Black horse sign can't even be considered a horse at all, as the sign the channel chose isn't even close to a horse. Instead, it's the constellation of Libra, which are the scales which the black horse rider carries, but there's no horse. On October 9th, Venus is in that constellation. Again, October 9th is the only thing all these signs have in common, and what this channel thinks makes them signs. Since we've shown it's not a biblical day or important in any way, I'm sorry, but the star signs just really aren't signs to me. But as we said, there are star signs that Revelation calls signs in the heavens. And we found them all occurring on real biblical feast days. Click right here to keep watching and find the signs that will occur on the days of the beginning of the birth pangs, the abomination of desolation, the rapture, and Armageddon. You have got to see this one. Till then, this is Nelson, and I'll see you there.